Welcome to Date Night at Power Noodles, the show where, you know what, this is the third date technically, so you know what that means, right?
Someone's getting lucky.
Someone's getting lucky. Whether it's us, we'll figure that out later.
Is that where you were going with that?
That's where I was going, but I
okay.
just wanted to see how you would fill in the blank, honestly.
Like at least a hand job.
That's
Like hand stuff.
at least hand stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of hand stuff, we often use our hands to play video games.
That is true.
And that was the shittiest transition ever. What the fuck was that?
No, dude, you're killing it. Keep going. I want to see where this is going.
Well, we often use our hands for video games and doing things in video games.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Yeah.
It's a very tactile experience.
It is. Not too tactile, otherwise we would die. But we're talking more so just about how we play our video games, how we do play styles, what our play styles are in video games.
Yeah, before we get into that, now I'm curious, at what base do you consider hand stuff?
First base.
First base is hand stuff?
Maybe more like second base. Somewhere between first and second is hand stuff.
Okay. Because I was going to say second base, because it goes, like, here's how I've always classified it. First base is just like heavy making out.
Okay.
Maybe like outside the clothes hand stuff.
Oh yeah, I was counting that.
Oh, okay. But then like hand stuff is second base, mouth stuff is third, and then the home run or like home plate is obviously boning. So
yeah.
Okay. So glad we agree.
And a home run is where you just blast through all that stuff.
I guess so, right?
Yeah. I don't even want to imagine what a bunt hit would be considered.
I mean, I could probably give you a few ideas, but let's move on now.
Yeah. This will be a more relaxed episode than our usual stuff. Just giving you all home an idea. No big research. We're mostly just talking about our experiences with things. So do you want to talk about Fallout or just whatever we're playing right now?
Whatever, all of it.
All of it.
Well, I could easily talk about all of it because in all these games where you're given the option of play styles, I still kind of pretty much play the same, like in spirit, the same character. I usually lean towards stealthy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easy. It's easier to stay hidden than it is to like run and gun. Although there's times and places for that. Like it's still fun. And if magic is a possibility, I'll use magic, and if not, I'll use whatever weapon would aid in stealth. Or does it break stealth?
All right. I kind of I do whatever I think would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more so how I play. A lot of times, if I'm very familiar with a game, I will go in with like a certain like challenge set in mind. Like recently in Fallout 4, I was doing a run where I'm like, okay, I am only going to use pipe weapons. I'm going to look like the scrappiest person I can and just focus on like the different pipe weapons.
That can be fun, especially, like, I don't know if you bother role-playing.
Oh, I do.
Okay. Because it's a single-player game, but I still think it could be a lot of fun to role-play.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun to build, like, as close as you can as to, like a raider settlement in Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
Doing, like, passing out, like, all the pipe bombs, pipe weapons, and, like, all the raider clothes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Why isn't that a grenade in Fallout 4? Just a pipe bomb.
Well, you already have the Molotov, I mean, like that fills the grenade aspect of it. Like a pipe bomb's not really a grenade though. That'd be more like maybe like a trap or a tripwire or something to that effect.
I mean, you can
a pipe bomb.
With a pipe bomb, you could still like light a fuse and toss it.
Well, that's just dynamite.
Oh yeah. That's more or less what a pipe bomb is at a certain point.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, like pipe bombs also have a pretty negative connotation in our society. That's what.
I mean, the Molotov has a certain negative connotation to some people.
Yeah, but Unabomber wasn't mailing Molotov cocktails.
All right, fair enough.
Mailing pipe bombs, and that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Made everyone afraid to open their mail.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they did make like a pressure cooker bomb in the game, I'd be like,
And I'm sure there's a mod for it.
I'm sure. There's a mod for everything.
Oh, yeah.
There's a mod to make every NPC nude. There's a mod to put tits on the guns.
So how did the pipe weapon playthrough
Uh,
go for you?
uh,
Or are you currently, is that what you're currently doing?
no, I finished that a little while ago, and honestly, it went a lot better. It went really well. I was gonna say a lot better than I thought it would, but honestly, the pipe weapons aren't that bad.
No, and actually, and when you, I don't think they're that bad either. I mean, they're definitely low tier, but like when you get to a certain skill of whatever weapon it is, it kind of just makes it a moot point.
Yeah, like if you're doing double damage with pistols at the end of the pistol perk tier,
Mm.
like it kind of doesn't matter. You're doing a lot of damage, like you said.
What armor did you wear?
It was mostly Raider armor, which
Okay.
which definitely wasn't that great. Raider armor's pretty terrible,
Yeah, it's not good.
but like I was mostly stealthing at a certain point anyway.
I'm trying to think. I guess it would count as roleplay. Like I never wear the power armor.
Hmm.
Whether it's in 4, 3, New Vegas, I never cared for it.
I wore the power armor a lot in 3 because like in that playthrough, like you're always working with the Brotherhood of Steel, and like
Yeah.
it just feels thematically appropriate to also be wearing power armor. In New Vegas, I never wore the power armor, mostly because they have some great perks that work well with like light and medium armor.
Oh, okay.
And with 4, I only use the power armor if I'm doing like a specific build. Like if I'm making another character and it's like I really want, and like power armor is part of that. Like if I'm doing like a heavy weapons character and like stealthing is not something I can really do, and like that's also not part of the roleplay aspect. Like if I'm doing somebody who loves using the harpooner or the junk jet or minigun or something like that, I can't imagine them stealthing around and being sneaky with it.
Have you ever done a build around the junk jet?
Never.
Oh, okay. Neither have I.
But
I've always thought about it, but it just gets so heavy.
yeah, I mean, if you somehow just get a ton of like pre-war cash, then like it's weightless ammo no matter what.
Yeah, but I mean, the like half the reason this is why I want to use the junk jet is seeing like the variety of the junk that goes through out of it.
I mean, killing somebody with a teddy bear is always fun.
Yeah, like a teddy bear, bowling pin, anything
Yeah.
really. Like I always thought that would be like that. Like that's the majority of the appeal of it. I also think it would have been a good gameplay mechanic, even though it's highly exploitable. But when you put junk into the junk jet, that becomes weightless.
Yeah.
But I think it would be worth it gameplay wise, just because it'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a musket rifle build?
Yes, I actually did that a little while ago.
Oh, I love the musket rifle. I think it's a really fun gun,
I like it too.
especially when you like build it all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
really strong too.
it's a great sniping weapon.
It is, yeah.
I do agree with some people though in that the little like hand crank doesn't make much sense since it still has like an ammo requirement. Because the original design for the laser musket was that it would be like ammoless. Like that little crank would be its generator to make to charge it. So it does make more sense with that concept in mind.
Well, it was supposed to be that, but from what I read about it, is in order for the game to consider it a gun, it had to have ammo, and so they just went with whatever. So I guess like canonically, lore wise, it actually doesn't use ammo,
But due to the limitations of the
yeah,
engine.
in the video game, it has to use ammo. Which I always have a ton of those energy cells anyway. Like I don't even know how I get so many, but I always have over 1,000.
Oh, I know where I get them. ArcJet.
Well, yeah, that's probably where I got them too.
Yeah. But the laser musket was great. When I was doing the run, it was also the first time I had done last flight of the USS Constitution.
Uh-huh.
And like it felt super thematic.
Yeah, I can see that.
Where you're like shooting down at like the scavengers that are coming for the ship, and you have like Captain Ironsides yelling at you to fight them off, and you just have like this like colonial feel with like the ship and everything, and you have this colonial laser weapon, and it feels like it all fits together.
Yeah, I can totally see that. That was like, and that's he gives you the broadsider.
He gives you the
Okay.
broadsider at the end of the quest.
I guess that's pretty thematic for that quest. I don't know how I've never used that gun. I don't know how practical it is. I imagine not very.
I mean, like any weapon that has unique ammunition, it's something you're not going to necessarily find a whole lot of, and you're going to have to specifically buy and look for it.
Yeah, that's what I was always thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think. Oh, on my current Fallout 4 character, I'm doing a stealth. What is that perk that like when you're in VATS and it essentially will, when you target someone in VATS with a melee weapon, you essentially just teleport in front of them.
Oh, Blitz.
Blitz, yeah. I'm doing a stealth blitz build. It's a lot of fun. It's super powerful.
Yeah, I can imagine that's like really powerful. I haven't done like a stealth melee build in a hot second.
Yeah, I'm using, I have, what's that called? Krimva's Tooth?
Yes, the one that's like melee poison.
Yeah, I have that. I do have that knife, but I usually use Pikmin's blade because aesthetically, I just don't like Krimva's Tooth, and also like the poison is it seems almost useless in Fallout for some reason.
Remind me what Pikmin's blade, what special effect that has?
I think it's a bleeding chance.
Gotcha.
And it looks like a combat dagger or combat knife. Yeah, Krimva's has a poison chance, and there's not too many like legendary like knives in Fallout.
No, I don't think so.
I had a Chinese officer sword for a while too that I put the serrated mod on. Like that was really strong.
Was it one you had found, or was it General Chao's Revenge?
It was just a generic one that I found.
Gotcha.
Like a raider had it that I killed. But that blitz perk is like once you get like the second rank of that is very, very strong.
Oh yeah.
Because like that distance that you can travel that in the second rank is just like it's essentially like if you can see the guy, if you're able to target him, you can get there. It's a lot of fun though. Before that, I did my main character on Fallout was nothing but fire weapons, so only like the flamer and Molotov cocktails and the shish kebab. That was a lot of fun too.
If you found like a legendary weapon with like a flame effect, would you use it?
No.
Okay.
I would probably just put it in a box somewhere.
All right, just curious.
Forget about it and never use it again. But it's just like a lot of fun because like with that character was a very reckless character. I remember the quest to go find Nick Valentine, and then like once you run into like Skinny Malone and everyone talks to each other what feels like forever.
Yeah.
I just ran up and started stabbing him with my shish kebab because I didn't care anymore.
Oh yeah.
And I felt like that was in character for that character that I was playing. I also turned the HUD to like on my Pip-Boy and everything to red, which makes it incredibly hard to read, but I feel like my character wouldn't care. And there's several burn marks from the character creation. So like burn marks, scars, vitiligo.
So just like
it's gross looking.
So just a pyromaniac since before the war even.
Yes. It was a lot of fun. It's a really fun character.
I had done like a science-based playthrough not too long ago. I was like, I
always wanted to do one, but it's just so easy to start one and then just give in. It's like, I need weapon skills.
Yeah, because like I was like, I will only use energy weapons. And like once you get like righteous authority and you have decent luck, it's like fantastic, a great way to like a great weapon. But like it's hard to transition into plasma into the moment you start getting plasma because it's like so difficult to find the ammo after a point.
Yeah. I never really used plasma weapons. I bought that legendary one from that vendor in the Institute, but I only bought it because it was legendary, and I had already known, like, well, I know where this is going to go with him. So I was like, I'll buy it now because I'm not really going to get a chance to come back later because they won't exist anymore.
Fair. I do that a lot too whenever I know, like, oh, I'm not going to see this vendor ever again after certain events, so I'll just get anything unique from their inventory now.
Which I don't know why I do that, because I never use it.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out. It's FOMO.
I guess.
Yeah. And also just like your completionist brain being like, I won't have any other chance, so I might as well do it now.
Yeah, I feel like that's more of the reason.
But yeah, during like that science playthrough, I like kind of wiggled things around to try to justify reasons I did things. Like, well, my guy's really into the different sciences, and like power armor engineering is a science.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
I'll get like the perks that like increase fusion core life, as well as get
Oh,
like
okay.
that bobblehead so that I don't just eat through fusion cores.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I can also justify getting the gamma gun and using that on people, which makes a lot more sense than being like power armor makes sense.
The gamma gun. Oh, the little satellite dish in your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. I tried to make a character that was like that fire character, but with radiation instead.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's a lot harder because so many things are immune to radiation damage, and it's almost impossible before you do the quests for that guy like with the alien helmet.
The Cabot House quest to get
Yeah,
like
the
Lorenzo
Cabot House.
Cabot's artifact to put on the gamma gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
Like
going with.
you almost have to do that quest and also put that mod on a different legendary gamma gun
Mm-hmm.
so you can at least have 2 perks, and that might give you a chance.
Yeah. Quick question. Would you use the rad rifle in that playthrough?
If I had ever found one, I probably would have.
You need to get to the DLC to find it. So.
Oh, okay. Then no, but I wouldn't be opposed to it because there's very limited stock.
Yeah. Secondly,
Adam's judgment I would also use.
how many ghoul slaying gamma guns have you found? Because it feels like I find one per playthrough.
I'm sure I've found one at least, but nothing specifically comes to mind. I know I see a lot of pictures of it posted on like Reddit saying like, well, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it is, but it's like random. Like, get over it. How many leopard print bandanas have you found?
0.
Oh, I have found one.
You have found one.
Yep.
And how happy were you when you found it?
I honestly didn't care.
That's fair.
I mean, it gave me like a moment for pause. It's like, oh, this is like the rarest thing in Fallout 4, I believe.
Cool.
And
Moving
then
on.
I think I put it in Dogmeat's inventory so I wouldn't lose it, but I didn't have equip it because by that time I'd already found like the heavy dog armor, the spiked collar, and like that dog helmet.
Yeah.
So Dogmeat looked really cool and like battle ready. So I didn't want to fuck it up with giving him a animal print bandana.
It's fair. I'm super glad you didn't say otherwise I would have messed up his armor rating or whatever, because
I don't
that
think he
doesn't
has
do
one, does he?
anything.
Yeah.
Like it says it on like the item description that it increases his defense, but it doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, like I think I had known that a long time ago, but like I always just do it because I think it looks cool. Because I go back and forth between the chain collar and the spiked collar, so because I kind of changed my mind which one looks cooler. So it's all aesthetic, and he's immortal anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
Something that I did recently find out though, like with Dogmeat, like those perks that you can get to like about being like without a companion.
Yeah, Lone Wanderer.
Yeah,
He doesn't affect them.
Yeah, which I didn't know until fairly recently.
Yeah. We're not too sure why that happens. Some people think it's a balance thing. Dogmeat isn't necessarily that good in a fight. Other people think it's because Dogmeat was originally supposed to be like someone you can have all the time and have another companion on top.
That's what I had read, because it was supposed to be like a companion plus Dogmeat, but the way the way like the game thinks of Dogmeat, he has to be considered a companion for it to like work.
Yeah.
But there's like one of the remnants of that is like that's why like which I've been very annoyed with. Companions follow behind you.
Yeah.
But Dogmeat will be in front of you.
Yeah.
And so you'll get into a loop of just endlessly chasing Dogmeat because he keeps running, like anticipating where you're going, or the game does. And it gets very annoying. But if you crouch down, he'll come to you, which I found that out.
Ah.
So if to talk to him or if you just can't catch him.
I actually didn't notice that. Sometimes I crouch down to get my dog's attention too, so I guess that makes sense reason-wise.
Yeah. What did you think? Did you enjoy how they changed power armor from 3 in New Vegas to 4?
Yes and no. Yes, because now it feels more like how it is in the lore, where you essentially become a walking tank.
Like it does give you like the feeling of like it's an actual like
powered suit of armor.
Yeah, and not just clothes.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you can't use it as freely as they show it in every single other version of Fallout. in lore, those fusion cores are supposed to last much longer, which I know they had to do for balance reasons, and it's just I don't get to use it as often as I would like to because it's just very inconvenient.
I think it was a great move because power armor isn't something that you should be able to use or you shouldn't use all the time anyway.
Well, I feel as though they put it more into late game of Fallout 4. Like if it was a reward for getting so far into the game, maybe you completed like got deep into the main story, or you did like a very difficult side quest that you're not supposed to do until you're like level 20 something or something like that. Then I feel as though they could balance it more around that, make the fusion cores last longer and make it just more convenient to use than it is current.
Yeah, I know introducing power armor so early into the game was a controversial decision. I think it was a good one though, because like since they did change it so much, it's like all it is just a tutorial to show you how to.
Yeah, like they worked hard to make like a fancy new system, and they wanted to show off that new system.
And I don't know, like that power armor that you get in Covenant sucks anyway. So like it's just like all rusted, missing pieces. It's only like what, a T45.
Yeah,
because you're immediately gonna ditch it for fucking totally sweet XO1.
For like all the have you played any with the new content that they added in the most recent patch?
From the show?
No, like the Creation Club content that they added to the game as like a celebration of the show getting made.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But
Yeah.
no, I haven't.
You can get like some overpowered weapons really early, including a set of like Hellfire power armor super early.
I have seen a lot of pictures of that. It's like the XO2 Hellfire. It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I have Fallout 4 on Xbox One, so I don't know if they bother to update the Xbox One version or if I would have to get it on the Xbox Series mini fridge that I have. But I don't know. I'll check it out as soon as I can.
Yeah. Some of the stuff is just broken to an extreme extent. Like
How so?
one of the weapons is at like a baseball launcher.
Okay.
And if you shoot it in VATS, it fires out 9 baseballs in like a quick volley, like a lot of submachine guns do.
I mean, that sounds awesome.
The baseball launcher only uses 6 baseballs worth of ammo, and you can pick those baseballs back up. So you get
that's even better.
Yeah, so you get 3 baseballs for free every time you launch it if you pick up all the balls off the ground.
Sounds awesome, though.
Yeah, but like there's broken in a way that's still fun to do, and then there's broken in a way that's like not as fun, at least to me. Because like, yeah, you get like infinite ammo for what you get, and that's neat. And I'm not gonna say I've never used a glitch like that to get infinite ammo, but you have to stop, pick up all 9 baseballs every time you fire it, and assuming you don't kill them in one round of VATS, you could end up having to pick up, I don't know, like 27 baseballs off the ground that may have bounced absolutely everywhere.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot of baseballs.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it being broken. The game is 15 years old.
Yeah.
You're just having some fun. You got some new life breathed into it from the show, so I think it's okay.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna complain too much about the content other than the widescreen support.
What's that? What do you mean?
So
I know what widescreen is, but did
so
they fuck that up somehow?
yes, they did, because you know what they did? They just stretched the UI. They didn't rescale it. They just stretched it. So now like that little indicator, whenever you like have something you can select in, how that turns into a square? Mm-hmm. That now turns into just a straight up rectangle because of just stretching. It looks bad.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was a rush job because they wanted it out alongside the show, which they know they were coming out with years ahead of time, but still.
Yeah, I mean, you can change the AI scale and the options, can't you?
Not for like extreme widescreen. Like like those monitors that are like curved and like go all the way out.
Yeah, like the curved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe it looks better on a curved monitor, or is it...
Maybe.
Trying to think of if there's any particular guns or weapons or armor. The armor to me is almost an afterthought in Fallout. I usually will just wear regular clothes.
Depending upon like what I'm playing as. Like if I'm doing just like a bog standard survival playthrough, like I'm not doing any special characters or anything
I
like
don't
that.
play survival. It's way too hard.
I'm like always getting like the best defense possible, and then I have like an outfit for trading. It's like a full charisma outfit that is
Oh,
usually
okay.
like
Yeah.
either a suit or a dress, the fashionable glasses, and the pompadour or whatever other hat I can find. Yeah.
So you just look ridiculous.
You look ridiculous, but you get an additional 5 points of charisma for bartering.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like I get it. Like I put on all my charisma clothes too at one point during the Cabot mission. Like when you talk to Magnolia, because I wanted to sleep with her, so that way you can run into the ghoulified Vault Tech rep or salesman like in the hotel.
Yeah.
And I thought it was, I guess I just thought it was like a harder charisma check than what it was. I probably could have passed it on my own, but like I had like the full charisma regalia. I was drunk and high as hell too, and I mean it worked.
Yeah.
And then I convinced the Vault-Tec guy to go live in one of my settlements.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't need to sleep with Magnolia to meet him.
Oh, you don't?
No, you just walked to the top of Hotel Rexford.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just
Oh.
there.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize he was just there. I thought that was like just part of the quest.
No, you just meet him.
Huh. Oh well.
I mean, I doubt you were complaining.
I guess. I mean, it is what it is.
Besides that, I don't think there are too many specific guns in Fallout. Like, whatever looks like fun or whatever's good. Like, in survival, I try to stay away from shotguns just because they tend to be too heavy of ammunition. But other than that, I'm not too particular.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much already said weapon. I use the deliverer a lot, but that's just like for when I need it, because that's just, I don't know, a handy gun to have. I use righteous authority a lot, because that's also another handy gun to have.
Yeah. The way damage resistance works in Fallout, fully automatic weapons tend to be better than weapons that are just like one shot high damage.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like things like not the combat rifle, the assault rifle and things like that, and like submachine guns tend to work really well. But like weapons like, I'm trying to think of like a weapon that's like a lot of damage with one shot, like a sniper rifle. Like they work.
Fat Boy.
What?
Fat Boy is pretty high damage.
Yeah. But like they work really well because they're like high distance and you could pick a headshot over anything. But like if you're up close and only have a weapon that does high single shot damage, it's not as good. It can still work perfectly fine, just a fully automatic works better. So depending upon what Fallout I'm playing, 3 and 4, it's those types of weapons, and with New Vegas, it's high single shot damage, because damage threshold just takes off like individual points of damage rather than percentages.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Did you play? Do you play a lot of Elder Scrolls, or
I play a good amount of Elder Scrolls.
how do you play in that game?
Normally I pick like a type of weapon I want to focus on, whether it be like just a pure magic build, or if I want to do like heavy weapons or something that's bit more quick, like daggers or swords, single-handed swords. I just bounce it between, pick one of those and just try to stick to it.
Do you fall into the stealth archer trap?
I try not to.
Like in Skyrim, that's really, I think that's where that came from, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
I try not to fall for that.
Yeah, I try not to either. And like archery takes so long to level up in Skyrim.
Yeah.
It might have gotten better. Like I know Dawnguard had crossbows, but I've shot like those. It's hard for me to believe that those crossbows are like a good stealth weapon though, because they're so loud when you shoot it. But I think like within the game, it is a good stealth weapon. It's just like I can't get over it personally.
I don't think I've ever done stealth with the crossbow specifically, so I'll have to take your word for it.
So my first Elder Scrolls game was Morrowind, and when I first started playing it, I just kind of leveled up things as if I found a cool sword, I would just use that, or same thing with like I played around with like magic, and like they had like single cast scrolls in that game, stuff like that, or like if it was on like there was enchantment on something, I tried to do that, play around with it. So like my first couple of characters were like a huge hodgepodge of various skills that had nothing to do with one another, like a true like jack of all trades, master of none type deal. But there was one night when all my friends were over, we were all hanging out in my room, which was like the basement of my house, and two of my friends were arguing with each other about some such nonsense. It hardly matters now, and who could really remember? I guarantee you it was probably point. Because we've also had a huge argument if the actor's name is pronounced Bill Paxton or Bill Paxton. And I thought somebody was going to get punched that night. But it was something to that effect. And one of the guys said, like, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. I've read a book on it. And the second guy had said, that doesn't mean shit. And he gestured over to my bookcase where I have all this collection of random fucking books.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of, like, books about, like, paganism, martial arts, and, like exercise, stuff like that. And he was like, well, that hardly fucking matters. Like, look, like, if reading a book mattered, like, Bill would be like a fucking Don Juan Delanuche ninja witch. And we all thought that was a really funny thing to say, and we all laughed.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, I'm thinking, like, ninja witch. What a fucking idea that is. And so that has always, him making fun of, like, me and my other friend has always influenced me of, like, a ninja witch is a fucking cool idea. And then that's when, like, especially in Elder Scrolls, because there's magic in that game, I'm always, like, a stealth mage of some sort, which is a lot of fun. There's a lot of, there's a lot of different ways to go through it.
Yeah, because, like, in like Skyrim, at least, if you're like casting spells and stuff, like it is more noticeable when you're stealth, or you become more noticeable when you're stealth. So
there's a perk though that reduces or maybe even negates it entirely of like quiet casting.
Oh, well, that wouldn't surprise me. But
there's a lot of ways to do it. Like you can snipe with like an ice spear. You could lay down a bunch of those like
runes.
Invisibility is so overpowered. It only lasts 30 seconds, but there's no penalty in casting it over and over again.
Yeah, and like
in Skyrim, that's when they fixed it. In Oblivion and Morrowind, there was also something called Chameleon that wasn't invisibility, but it was transparency. And so the different levels of that was like if it were like 100% Chameleon, that's the equivalent of being invisible.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't break that spell if you opened a door or stole something or fought somebody. And it was super easy to cheese that in Oblivion, because when you close those Oblivion gates, like those towers or whatever, and they give you a ball, that little orb ball thing that has like an enchantment. It has 2 enchantments on it.
Yes.
One applies if you put it to clothes or armor, and the other applies to like weapons. And so just save them up till you can get like 4 or 5 25% chameleon enchantments, and then just put those on the clothes and just wear that, and you're invisible forever.
Yeah. Don't you sort of have to like I'm try that again. Don't you sort of have to save scum in order to get those?
You can. That's totally one way to do it. You can also just go close Oblivion gates until you get it. But either way, it gives you the same option. Being 100% invisible all the time, though, did kind of take a lot of the fun out of the game.
I would imagine so. If nobody can see you and you just start killing.
Like, it made it super easy to, like, sneak around.
I know once I got the Chinese stealth suit from the Operation Anchorage DLC and Fallout 3, that made a lot of stealthing around super easy.
I never wore the stealth suit.
Yeah, but you didn't play the DLCs, did you?
No, but there was one in New Vegas, though, right?
There is one, but it doesn't have the same effect.
Oh.
Like, the stealth suit in Fallout 3 is straight up just like wearing a stealth boy.
Oh, okay.
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, every time you crouch down, you get a stealth field. In New Vegas, it just gives you, like, plus 10 stealth and, like, plus 1 agility.
But, like, I never wore that because it's so fucking ugly. Like, I hate the way it looks, like, especially, like, the headpiece.
I always thought it looked cool. It felt like a sleek suit meant for sneaking around.
I thought it was ugly for some reason, and so I just didn't wear it.
I mean, to be fair, every time I was crouching wearing it, I went completely invisible, so...
Yeah.
And you do look a little silly just walking around normally in something like that.
Well, and also, like, I'm playing in first person anyway, so, like, I don't even see it. I don't even know why I cared so much. But I thought it was ugly. I'm almost positive there was some sort of stealth suit in Fallout 3, though.
There was another one in the
it was like
Old World Blues DLC. It was like an American recreation of the Chinese stealth suit, except it had like an AI voice that talked to you and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, like the base game of Fallout, I thought there was a stealth in there because I thought it was something like that. I thought maybe not. I don't know. Either way, it was ugly. I didn't wear it.
All right.
I was Legion in New Vegas anyway. That wasn't something something that like they would do stealthy anyway, even though everyone hates.
Yeah, well, they normally don't interact with many other people anyway.
I thought the quests were more fun,
Yeah.
so I did I did a Legion playthrough.
Yeah, Arizona Killer is a lot of fun to do.
And yeah, and I don't know, it was just, and I didn't like Boone that much. Like it was just kind of like a bummer to be around. So I didn't care about having affinity with him either.
I mean, I liked all the companions, but also I know that I might be in the minority in that one for liking every single companion.
No, I like from what I understand, a lot of those companions are really popular. I just didn't like it because it was like yeah, okay, he's got PTSD, he's really sad. Not to trivialize PTSD, it is a serious thing, but if I was in that setting, it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go my own way. I'm just gonna leave him in the dinosaur head.
I mean, he's just staying there, so yeah. Even when he is your companion, even if you dismiss him, he just goes back to the dinosaur head.
Yeah, it is kind of a bummer to be around. I really wish they had a Legion companion.
Well, the Legion got so much cut content,
Yeah, and it's like they're the bad guys, and like it's slavery is bad, and treating women as second-class citizens is bad. I get it.
I mean,
but it's also a video game.
Yeah.
Like in real life, I don't think I would want to join with that at all. So
I don't know. They had to cut corners somewhere, and like a lot of stuff got cut here and there. The Legion just got like the worst of it.
Yeah, they certainly did. I'm trying to think of what was stupid in that game that they could have cut instead. I don't know. They could have cut a lot of the House and Yes Man stuff. I didn't think that was interesting. I personally wasn't interested in it.
I mean, a lot of the House and Yes Man stuff are like quests that you already do for other people. It just felt like these quests were already made, it was very simple for them to just make a house / a yes man.
Or they could have cut the powder ganger stuff out of it.
Yeah,
I would have been fine with that too, and just made them like they could still have like the name powder gangers, but I didn't think it was necessary to have like a quest between if you could side with the powder gangers or side with that what was it, Good Springs.
Yeah,
it's like
I thought that was like a kind of a neat introduction that basically told you how the whole game would work. Like,
I mean, by itself, yes, but if we were to cut that and could have more Legion stuff, I would say let's go with the Legion stuff.
So this is one part of the game I have never done, but a lot of people also haven't done, but I hear stuff about it. There is a powder ganger like vault, like a vault that like a bunch of powder gangers are currently inhabiting, and there is a whole quest line with it. But if you don't search it out, you don't find it. I have never touched this vault.
What vault is it? I mean, like they came from a vault because like the powder ganger stuff, they're wearing like the blue.
No, they came from a prison. They found a vault next to the prison.
Oh, is it that vault then?
It's Vault 19, and it is, where is this? But yeah, it's just like this vault that like powder gangers live in. They're like trying to dig deeper out and like get like new places and elsewhere. And like I have never been there. And I just don't care for it. And it's like,
I wonder what the quest is. I wonder if I've done it.
Vault 19. Okay, it was separated into 2 separate sectors, one red sector, one blue sector, and it had 2 overseers for each one. And like it's just inhabited by powder gangers now. And it has sulfur caves so that they can make more explosives from that.
Okay.
It's where you can find the C4 early.
What in the fuck experiment is Volta trying to run with that? Like,
just like
how do you think that will end up?
They're just trying to like separate people into 2 sides again.
Like, there's so many of these wacky vaults, and with like these off-wall experiments, like the vaults that it's like only one of one gender and then 999 of the other gender. It's like, how the fuck do you think it's going to end up? Not well.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to involve like that one person is probably going to have a bad time, and then everyone's going to die because they can't repopulate.
I too kind of like what the show did, where like they basically took ideas from like all the other companies, and I firmly believe that was just somebody at one of these companies coming up with random bullshit just to like keep their job, just like a vault with this, whatever, just.
I mean, like, I kind of like it how, like, I did like it how, like, Vault Tech went out to all the other companies for ideas. And, I mean, that is, I guess, a very laissez-faire capitalistic way to do it. To be like, competition does encourage improvement. So let's do the best.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like very altruistic in a way, even though like things like capitalism is generally seen not as such.
Well, how is it altruistic?
Because it's like if competition forces improvement because you have to be better, one of these people might be better, so let's get the best result that we can, regardless if it's from like Vault Tech, West Tech. Robco seemed very hesitant to to join in, but like, or Med Tech, Big Mountain, they all seem pretty happy about it.
I think they're just happy to be able to do
It's
experiments
like
on
they're
people.
sacrificing like the interests of their company in order to actually legitimately get the best result of whatever it is they're trying to get.
I don't know, because like
It's never been blatantly explained exactly what Vault Tech was doing, other than, hey, this is cool. Has it?
no, well, I think Vault-Tec was just trying to get money. Like their whole thing is like, I'm sure it was a company that genuinely started to like help humanity survive, and then through like the process we see in the show, they just become like this company that's like make as much money as possible, get as many investors from all these different companies, and then let them do whatever. Like MedTech was the ones that like recommended, hey, what if we pump a vault full of hallucinogens? And it's probably they're trying to figure out, all right, what hallucinogens work best, what don't. Have human guinea pigs all for us.
And it's like the experiments like that. It's like, well, what do you mean works best? What the hell does that mean when you're just essentially roofing a bunch of people? Like,
I don't know, figuring out how long this
how
one
do you
takes.
think an enclosed space underground is going to go packed to the gills with people tripping out of their minds?
All right,
It's going to go not well.
this one gives them a nice mild high. This one's more of a heady high. And this one made them rip their eyes out. So that's how
Like-
A, B, and C went.
Well, C is going to go bad.
Yeah. Well, unless you sell that to the military, they can figure out something to do with that.
B, I mean, it sounds kind of all right, but it's not going to be a very productive society. And A will probably, be all right.
Well, I don't think these were actually designed to help people survive. These were designed to give companies a ton of guinea pigs to work on and let a bunch of people who were so paranoid about the end of the war that they bought spaces and bunkers that they could just do whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so.
Because, like, it's one of those things. I know the show talked about how Vault-Tec was willing to start the war to make sure people get into the vaults.
Well, it implied that.
It implied that.
It never outright said it. And also, the way that they implied that was that they essentially just said, like, well, what if we drop the bomb?
Yeah.
We don't know where they dropped the bomb, if they even did. Like, they could have bombed China first.
Yeah.
And not their own country.
Or they could have meant it to be like, we'll drop one bomb just to, like, stoke paranoia and make people want to be in the vaults even more. Like, I could easily see that being the case. And then they accidentally start the whole war.
Yeah. But so, like, it was implied. It wasn't ever explicitly said.
Yeah.
So, like, it didn't break any lore.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Because it's been implied before that Vault-Tec may have started the war, too.
It's been implied that anyone could have started the war.
Mm-hmm.
And the more important lesson of, like, that whole thing is that, does it really matter now?
Well, certainly not.
Yeah.
Like, because that was 200 years ago in
Yeah.
a different country. That's essentially a different country, different time.
Different people.
Yeah.
Well, mostly. We still got ghouls.
There's
kicking around.
exceptions, but oh, another thing with Elder Scrolls though, it's also fun to be really stealthy and then summon a bunch of Atronachs.
Mm-hmm.
That's always really fun, especially when, like, in Skyrim, you can have Atronachs permanently if you get the master level conjuration spells.
Yes.
And two of them, which is fun. And you can also get summoned Dremora Lords, which they're not permanent, but you can get two of those guys too, and those are really fun because those guys are really strong.
Yeah.
They're very slow, so they're not good at running because they're decked out in like Daedric armor, and which is really heavy, but they kill a lot of things.
I know. I've had to fight them.
Yeah, that's really fun too. And also, like, the weapons are really fun stealthy, especially in Skyrim because it gives you those kill cams too, and that's always good. And it's really satisfying if you're like decked out in like Dark Brotherhood armor, you got like a totally sweet ass dagger, and you're invisible, and then you go to like attack the guy that you're sneaking behind, and so it goes in kill cam where like he just kind of like stiffens up a bit, and then you break invisibility and run the dagger across his throat. That was really satisfying.
Yeah, those kill cams are fucking great. Unless
Hmm.
they're on you, in which case, not so great.
Yeah, like the mage ones and like the archery ones are kind of lame because it's just like,
It,
especially the archery ones, because it's just like you like releasing a bow in slow motion. It's like,
yeah.
who cares?
And like for the mage kill cams, you're just shooting more lightning. You're
Hmm.
not doing anything that unique.
Yeah, and also like miss half the time anyway because the magic is so slow.
Have you played very many of like the Souls games?
No, not a single one.
Ah,
They look very hard, and I'm not actually very good at video games, but like the Souls, like the Dark Souls games, the Bloodborne games, Elden Ring, like those all look very hard.
I am not that good at video games either, but I do get through them through just sheer stubbornness.
Yeah.
Uh,
And like from the stuff that I've watched of like the Let's Plays of it, it doesn't really look like there's too many different play styles. It's all kind of just like bashing and fighting stuff like that. I could be wrong though. Like I'm not playing it, so
I mean,
I could be wrong.
there are like a few builds that people are like, yes, this is like the ultimate build. If you're doing anything else, it's gonna be harder. But like, I just play whatever I think would be fun through a singular playthrough.
It doesn't seem like there's a lot of stealth in that game.
There is no stealth in this game.
Oh, man,
There
sounds
is some
lame.
stealth in Elden Ring, but there's not stealth in any of the other Soulsborne games.
Oh, okay.
Like I am playing Elden Ring now.
Mhm.
I just recently got it because it was on sale for the Steam summer sale, and I came in with like one build. I was expecting to be like a spell sword, wield my sword in one hand, have like my magic arrows in the other hand, and fighting it off. And then I found a great sword and a miracle catalyst, which you need for like holy spells. So I was like, I am now doing a paladin build.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like the makings of a paladin.
Yeah.
Although when I think of paladin, I think shield, not necessarily sword. But that's mostly because of World of Warcraft.
Because of Warcraft, I think more so. For a while, I thought hammer more than anything else for paladin, but
Hammer makes sense too.
yeah. But like I found,
The priest's hammer, though.
yes, but I found like a miracle catalyst that also scaled with like strength and not just faith, the two different stats in the game. So I was like, oh, this was made for paladin builds. Okay,
Sounds like it.
I know what I'm doing, and so I just hard shifted. Because, like, in the games, like, evasion is really prized, but, like, I decided to do, like, all heavy armor and just tank every hit that comes my way.
That tracks on what like a World of Warcraft paladin is to tank damage. I mean, like they had the whole. I mean, I haven't played WoW in so long. Like I stopped playing WoW sometime around after the first DLC, like many years ago, with like where they introduced like the Blood Elves.
Yes.
And like the really cool thing at the time I thought about the paladins was they could do that area of effect grinding, and you could spec in a certain way to where like you could tank all the damage and not even bother attacking because of retribution aurora, which hurts people when they attack you.
Yes.
And also like there are specs you could do to like get healed on when you take damage and all that, and so you're just constantly being healed, and it was always really cool looking. That and when mages could area of effect grind, like ice build mages too. I always thought that was cool looking.
See, in Warcraft 3, paladins were like your tank hero if you were playing the Alliance. So they had like a healing spell that they could use for other units but not themselves. They had like a protection aura that gave everybody around them additional armor and damage resistance.
Yeah.
And they also had a spell that was just called Shield of Faith, which made them invulnerable for a period of time.
Well, retribution aurora in Warcraft 3 they had thorns, right, or something to that effect. Like,
I think a hero had thorns. I do not remember which one.
that I thought it was paladin that had thorns, but because I don't like real-time strategy games.
Yeah.
I'm super bad at them, even worse than regular video games, so I never got into it. But I thought maybe that's what it was, but I always thought it was weird because that's also a druid ability in WoW.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's like you just get hurt when you attack them.
Yeah.
But I always thought that looked really cool.
It's neat. Thorns is always something that like I could never spec into any game that I played, because it was always one of those abilities that once you got it, you had spent so much time trying not to get hurt that like just having it felt like it wasn't.
Well, yeah, well, something like Thorns or
Yeah.
Retribution, or like it's not designed to be by itself. Like you have to like spec for it.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise, like it's just gonna be an annoyance to whatever mob you're fighting instead.
yeah, and like
Or it's you use it because druids can tank too, and or you just use it to like just keep up the threat meter.
yeah.
They used to be able to tank. I don't know what the game is like now. I'm
Um,
sure it's complete. I bet it's a whole different game now.
I do not doubt that. I remember I was watching like some Let's Player at some point. He was playing a game, but totally different game, but he was talking about playing WoW back in the day and how you had to rotate people on like their threat meter just to try to keep a handle on like aggro.
Yeah.
And he was like, that doesn't exist anymore.
That's interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting, but also I don't know, I feel like that because in vanilla WoW, paladins can tank obviously because they're the only other class that can wear plate, and druids can tank in bear form, but they're still not going to be as good as a warrior tanking because a warrior has a lot more tools available to increase their threat. And so if you got a paladin or a druid tank, you're gonna get some fucking cocksucking rogue that goes up there, steals all the threat because they want to do like that high crit number, like every rogue in existence always wants to do. And it's like, well, like now they just aggroed all the threat away from the tank, and I was a priest, and like as a healer,
You were supposed to focus the tank.
that's all I literally can do.
Yeah.
Because the tank is the only one. Because in late game, the tank is the only one that has the armor rating to. They're still going to take damage, but it's at least going to be slowed just enough to where I can also juggle it with my mana regen between healing spells.
Yeah.
If a rogue or a hunter every once in a while steals that threat, you have to let them die because you're not going to be able to keep up with them losing health because you're going to deplete all your mana pool spamming like fast heal or grand healing on them.
See, in Final Fantasy 14, they have a
And then they get pissed off at you in chat, and it's like, dude, you're a fucking rogue.
Yeah.
Like, do that vanish, disengage, and then just bandage yourself. I'm trying to keep the warrior alive.
In Final Fantasy 14, basically all the people that are meant to tank have like certain abilities just to draw aggro. They have like AoEs to like hit a bunch of enemies and make sure they can only target them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And like bear form druid, like they had like roar or shout or whatever it was to like get aggro, and then paladins had something equivalent to get aggro as well, but they only had like one or two different options. Like everything a warrior has like is designed to keep that threat level up,
Yeah. Keep the threat level up, keep the damage numbers low, and
keep that rage up as well. So like the war, like at the end of the game, like at in game, like you had to have a warrior tank. You could get away with it if you're like good, because
Gotcha.
I know there were like things of like all druid run since druids were healers, because like druids could do pretty much everything kind of well. Because bear is a tank, they could be that panther as a rogue or DPS. They could be the moonkin
I imagine that took a lot of like organization though.
I mean, you would need to know people you would need to know a lot of druid.
Yeah.
So if you got like 40 druids in your back pocket and they were all divided up into, you definitely had enough tanks, DPS, and healers, and spec as such. Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of people getting like pissed at you for not healing them, you ever play TF2?
No. I never played Team Fortress. I don't know why. Like I had the orange box. I believe it was part of that bundle, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was more concerned with
Portal and Half-Life.
Yeah.
That's
especially
fair.
Half-Life.
But like I used to play a lot of TF2 back in the day. It's something I still pop in for some of their special events that are like yearly. But like back when I was trying to be a medic, I would get like so many people that would think they could take on the entire enemy team if I was at their back. And then
Yeah.
whenever I would see they were in over their head and they would not pull back, I'd be like, fuck it, I'm not going to stay here and get killed because you think you're better than what you are.
Yeah. Well, healing in PvP is different than healing in PvE. PvP is, for me, it was always just like, just try your best.
Yeah.
Because, well, threat doesn't work anymore because you're just fighting against other people.
Yeah.
And so, like, if As a priest, I had a couple of different skills that dumped threat temporarily. I mean, like, that doesn't work against another person, obviously. I think I don't know, I think they eventually did patch it, but if it was a pet from like a hunter or a warlock, it would work against their pet because that's still NPC.
Yeah.
So you could argue that you could use that kind of stuff in PvP. I was really bad at healing in PvP. There was some trick that I never learned because I would just go in there and I would follow the biggest group of my team and just immediately start hitting grand healing because it was the longest cast, but it healed the most. So I was like, well, like the healing will make up for the time. And also if I spam fast healing, that's gonna just destroy my mana. Or sometimes I would say fuck it because I was also I was a shadow priest, so I was specting shadow magic. So I would just go to pop shadow form and just solo it and not really care about like the objective. It was essentially like capture the flag, I think.
Gotcha.
In like the battleground. Wow, I'm trying to think. And I was like, well, like we're not gonna win. I'll just have fun.
Yeah,
Shadow Priest was a lot of fun to play.
I never did much PvP for Final Fantasy 14 whenever I was playing that.
Mm-hmm.
I had other people who played it, but like PvP was never like their thing. They never really thought it was that fun. And I was like, well, I enjoy playing with these guys, and if they say PvP isn't really that fun, I guess I'll follow their lead on that thing.
I mean, it can be fun. It's just like in WoW, it's a whole different spec. Like gear is all different, and also you have to assume like the rest of your team is also spec'd and geared as such to be good at PvP.
Do you play very many multiplayer games?
Not anymore. I used to play a lot of Halo. But I haven't done it since Halo 3 or 4, like not multiplayer.
I gotcha. I don't play that many multiplayer games either. Like I play a lot of single player games that have some multiplayer aspects. Like you can summon people to help you out with a boss in Elden Ring, but beyond that you can't really do.
Oh yeah, there's not really like a full-on co-op. It's just
there
them, right?
There is a mod that allows for full-on co-op, and like
of course.
I have some friends who play with it and say that it's like super stable. And like there's a Coliseum mode where you can just fight other players in a 1v1 situation, but beyond that there's not much multiplayer. You can leave messages for other players, and that can be fun and useful at times.
A Coliseum thing, that sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm sure it would be fun, but I'm not good at video games. And I'd probably be going against people who have been playing Elden Ring since launch.
Probably.
And
it's a skill though. You can develop it.
Yeah, but like every time I think about, I want to get good at like a multiplayer game, I always think, well, how much time would I have to put into this one specific game for extended hours to get like to that skill level? And how much longer am I going to be playing the game after I reach that skill level? Like, is it an investment I really want to put time into?
Well, I mean, yeah, if you say it like that, it sounds like a waste of time. But
I mean, I know people who have been playing the same game since 2010, and they are exceptional at it, and they're still like a vibrant
I would
online.
hope so.
Yeah, and there's like
that would be a waste of time. Like if they were bad at it still, like that's a waste.
Yeah.
Like what game is it?
StarCraft 2, Team Fortress 2.
I got a friend who was way into StarCraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for a hot minute, I was like, I'm gonna get really good at StarCraft, and then I was like, but wait.
I tried to get good at StarCraft 1, but I couldn't even beat the computer in the first scenario or level or whatever. And I kind of gave it up. And I think I actually just gave him that copy of StarCraft. And then I remember when the StarCraft 2 beta launched, like him and I were roommates at this point, and he was actually getting ready to go on a date with who is now his wife.
Oh.
And the beta launched because I heard, and he had a key for it, and I heard him go like, fucking god damn it. And he was like coming up to me saying like, you just like I gotta call off the date. I gotta play StarCraft. And I was like, no, go on the date. Like StarCraft will still be like you have the beta key, so you already have that. It can't be taken away from you now. It'll be fine. Just go on the date. And like he asked me to cut off his hand so he'd have an excuse not to go. He's like, well, for one, and he's right-handed, but he held up his left hand. And I was like, well, for one, I mean that's your hotkey in hand.
Yeah.
So you don't want to lose that. Two, we'd be going to the hospital if I did that. But I always thought that was funny. And they're married now, so I guess he made the right decision. And they're still married.
Well, you helped them make that right decision too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I helped.
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely did my part. And I was going to say that in a speech that I was assuming at the time I was going to give at his wedding, but he didn't ask me to be anything that gives a speech.
Oh.
Or even be in the wedding party.
Oh.
So, like, I went to the wedding and just held that story to myself until right this moment, actually.
Well, dang.
Like 10 or 12 years ago is when that happened. So he knows who he is.
Well, if he's hearing it, now you know, I guess.
Yes. There's a few other funny stories that I would have had in my speech about watching him and her relationship blossom into a marriage. But he never gave me the chance to say it, so I just kept them to myself. So maybe they'll come out later.
Maybe.
The other ones aren't really apt to video games or anything, so it'd be inappropriate to say them now.
All right. Maybe you'll get another chance if we talk about something else in the podcast.
Maybe if there's like a love theme or something like that, or a relationship.
Yeah, we could talk about
episode.
different relationships in video games at some point or another.
Oh, we totally can. I have a lot to say about Piper.
I'm sure you do.
How do you play Cyberpunk 2077? Unless you wanted to keep... Well, we were talking about World of Warcraft. And
we were talking about World
like
of Warcraft
MMOs.
and like Elden Ring and stuff. So, no, we're not really like... I don't plan on focusing this on anything in particular. This is just a chill out sort of thing. Cyberpunk, I kind of just pick a couple of weapon skills and stick to it. Like my very first playthrough, I was like, pistols and katanas. That's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay. I mean, that's effective. It works.
Yeah. It was 98% katanas until I fought like that.
Did you have like the Sandevistan or Korezikov or whatever, or the whatever cyberware that slows down time?
No, I
that jazz.
I didn't have any of that because like
you just came in riding with a sword swinging.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're just a young boy with a swinging a sword and a dream in his heart.
Just nothing but hopes and swings.
So, well, what cyberware did you have?
I don't remember. But here's the thing. Like I said, it was like one of my first playthroughs. So I didn't do a whole bunch of side story stuff. I didn't do side stuff a whole lot. I didn't really spec into anything particular. Yeah, I was just going in raw, no knowledge. Just like, I like these two types of weapons, I'll do these. And like, that's how I play a lot of games for the first time. I just go in, do whatever, and then for like my second playthrough on, that's when I like do research. And I'm like, okay, this seems neat, I'll do this build. And in order to do this build, I'll need like these items and like these skills to maximize whatever I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
But like first time through, even if I like try to focus, it's just pure raw, just seeing what I find on my own.
Okay. Let's see. With all these open world games, I have the worst habit of restarting characters like 10 or 15 times before I find one. And it's always because it's like, oh man, I really wish I would have picked that different hair color. And so I'll restart the game. And because like character creation in these types of games is always my favorite part of the game. Like I don't know why, I couldn't tell you. Probably has something to do with like self-hatred.
Okay.
But it's like, man, because I'm not building myself in these character creators.
Oh, I'm never building myself either.
And it's like, man, like my ideal self is very wildly different looking than this, like what you see before you. But it's always like something stupid like that. And I did that a lot with Cyberpunk, which is also almost even more stupid because that game is entirely in third person or first person. Like it is, it's a bit less first person now because you have the option to go third person when you're in a vehicle. Yeah. I never do that though. I think it's more fun being first person in the vehicle.
I just think it's easier to drive in third person. Of course, Of
course it's easier, but it's that like to me like that's half the fun of driving is navigating in first person.
Of course, I was gonna say I also built up that habit in like early Cyberpunk, whenever driving was way
Hmm.
more difficult than it is
Yeah,
now.
it used to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
Not even driving, just crossing the street used to be a lot harder.
Doing anything was a lot harder.
That's true. But I could not just not get hit by a car if I was standing even close to the street when that game first dropped. And I think they did fix, I guess they changed it in one of the patches to where it's a little better, although you still can't get hit by a car, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm strictly like first person all the time in that game.
See, I have the opposite setup than I do for No Man's Sky. Because in No Man's Sky, I am first person in the ship, third person when I'm walking around. And for Cyberpunk, I'm first person walking around, third person for the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like it is easier, but I don't know, like it's funnier though, because it's funny how like wildly difficult it is, and how also especially now with the 2.0 update, like you got other NPCs breaking the law and driving like a crazy asshole,
Mm-hmm.
and like the cops are chasing them down instead of just ignoring everything except for you when you break the law. So like they're like doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And so you can, it's entirely possible to just be like in the middle, like in between a cop and like their suspect.
So you'll just be like driving along and then you get T-boned and you don't even see it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Even if you were a good driver and waited for your right away,
Mm-hmm.
and also like the green light, it's entirely possible that you just get T-boned into the sidewalk because there's a guy in a garbage truck running away from the police.
And then because you got T-boned, you accidentally hit like a pedestrian or something, so now the police are after you.
Yeah, I would also consider that, and I would also not count that on my non-lethal playthrough. I mean, that's beyond my control.
Yeah.
And I don't consider myself killing them. That was the other driver that killed them. But sometimes you do have to run over the pedestrian. It happens.
Yeah.
Because they jump in front of you.
Because other people do not pay attention as much as the player now.
Mm-hmm. I personally love my character on Cyberpunk now. Stealth Contagion build is a lot of fun for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why. And it's also like the least interesting thing to watch ever.
I mean,
Like if you're watching someone else play that, it's super boring.
from the outside, I can imagine, sure, but like you do all that setup and everything to get it working. Because I can imagine like what the buildup is like, and then you just sit back and watch like the fruits of your labor just go once you set it all into motion.
Especially with the 2.0 update, you really have to weigh in the time between you think if you don't want to break stealth, you really have to weigh in the time between when I drop my first quick hack compared to how long it takes their netrunner to find me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things that can break that. You can just take the netrunner straight out,
Yeah.
but a lot of times you don't know who it is. It's not
Yes.
very obvious, and so it takes a lot to get used to. Overall, I think it's better because then it forces you to use those other quick hacks that like will like silence, or there's another quick hack that like essentially like it will force the your target to come towards you,
Mm-hmm.
which is but that won't start their net runner, which I think is interesting, and that's a good way to take him out, like to get someone away from the group. And there's also a couple of different quick hacks that get people together, which is critical for a contagion build.
Isn't there also like a quick hack that just like temporarily disables the net runner in a series, or
There is, I'm sure. I specifically don't know what it is.
Mm.
Because a lot of times I'll just spam contagion until everyone's dead. Because also now you got overclock, which turns it to where like instead of using RAM, like if you run out of RAM,
Mm-hmm.
now it'll eat your health to
Oh.
upload quick hacks instead of RAM. So you get a chance to rebuild your RAM. If you're stealthy anyway, you shouldn't have to worry about taking any other damage other than what you're feeding into your cyber deck, so you can do more quick hacks. And that's really useful, especially if you get like a top like a legendary or iconic cyber deck
Mm-hmm.
that's spec'd for using overclock. Like you have infinite RAM essentially.
Well, dang.
Or you can also now spec to have like 35 like those RAM bars that go across the top, you know?
Yeah.
You can have like 30 of those if you do it right.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right. After I get tired of Elden Ring, because I think I'll get tired of it before I beat it, I'm going to Cyberpunk again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right on. I mean, Cyberpunk, I love that game. I've always loved that game. I know it had a controversial release,
Yeah.
obviously. I actually didn't really ever have any of those problems as much as what everyone else did. When I first got it, like I downloaded it the day it was available on my Xbox One. I never really noticed to me it wasn't any buggier than a typical Bethesda release for me.
For me, every single cutscene had Jackie Wells T-posing the entire time. All the
Yeah.
audio was playing, but like his lips did not move. Like I had a ton of bugs, but I still loved the game because I just liked the gameplay and the actual story was really
And
good.
I know those things existed, and I know like people who played it on PlayStation had an even worse time.
Yeah.
Like that is just a notoriously bad release. But for me, like it had always been playable, and it just keeps getting better. I think they're done updating it, right?
They're done. They're focusing on Cyberpunk 2 now.
Right. Well, good. But it just had kept getting better and better and better, and now it's one of my favorite games of all time. And also, I couldn't explain exactly why, but it really reminded me of playing like an open world RPG in the mid 2000s, and it has something to do with like there's a lot of NPCs, and you can go up to them, you can hit like the activation button, and they'll say like a single line or so, and that was very reminiscent to like Deus Ex 1 or 2 or Morrowind to a degree and stuff like that. And like I really enjoyed that. Like not every character goes into like a dialogue box, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
It was great.
Random people.
It is great.
Yeah, there were random people around that had nothing to do but to add to the atmosphere.
Yeah, and just visually.
Yeah.
Sometimes, most of the time. But yeah, I've always loved that game, and it was always playable for me. So I will defend that game, and I'm super happy that everyone has turned around and now they love that game. A lot of it, I also think, has to do with the Edge Runner anime.
Probably.
Which was super good.
I actually still haven't seen it.
My God.
I've been meaning to. Everybody has told me it's super good, and
It
it'll
is super
break my
good.
heart.
Yeah, it gets pretty sad, but that's fine.
It's somewhere in the giant laundry list of shows / movies / games I need to watch / play / experience.
Yeah, I mean you can knock that one out in like an afternoon though.
I know, but like there's so much Elden Ring to play, and like
Do you not have a 2 TV setup?
no.
Oh man.
Well, if I'm gonna watch something like that, I want to give it like my full attention.
Well, then put that on the big screen and use Elden Ring for the small screen.
The small screen is my phone,
Okay.
which I'm pretty sure I could get like Steam Stream on my phone, but still.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I played a lot of Morrowind with 2 TVs.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was using like that shitty like wooden TV I was talking about, because that's just that was just like that wasn't the main TV. I mean, I probably should have said that, but it was like a secondary TV that I had.
Gotcha.
So I just pulled that out, like the storage area of the house, and it's like, hey, this surprisingly has, well, it actually didn't have the audio visual cable hookups, but it did have coaxial cable.
So you ran a coaxial through.
Well, I had an adapter for
Gotcha.
that would go on the original Xbox to like coaxial.
Because I was about to say, like, were there like mods for that or something, or did like the original somehow have coaxial?
Well, no, like you could buy like an adapter that would make it coaxial, but there's not going to be mods on like the original Xbox is what I played Morrowind on.
I gotcha. I mean, I know people who still modify the original Xbox now and everything.
On that, I don't know how to do that, especially when I was however old you are in 10th grade, 2004. I think that's when it was released on Xbox. That sounds right. Maybe 2002. Either way, like in either of those years, I didn't know how to mod an Xbox.
Yeah, that's fair.
I really wanted to for Halo 2. There were some modders on there. Holy shit. Took a lot of the fun out of the game.
What, do they just cheat constantly?
Well, you'd get like an automatic sniper rifle.
Uh-huh.
And a sniper rifle is already in Halo 2, the sniper rifle was like the most coveted game already, other than the energy sword. And it would give you like an automatic sniper rifle with like homing bullet. you didn't have to reload.
Gotcha.
So
They just give you insane stuff.
yeah, and I mean a headshot will kill you with one hit, or 2 body shots would kill you.
And if it's already automatic, who cares if it's a headshot or a body shot the first time?
I mean, they didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you might care because at the end of the game, you get a little stat that says that you're the amount of headshots, but you also get the amount of shots fired too. So he said, fucked up the ratio.
Yeah.
Man, I miss that. I miss those Halo 2 days. That was a video game that I was legitimately good at, like multiplayer wise. Was Halo 2 because all my friends were in it. A lot of my friends were really, really good at playing it, and so like if if you play a game with people that are better than you, you're going to get better. And we played it all the time, and like an Xbox Live blew our minds. Like, holy shit, this is so fucking cool.
You can play with your friends online now.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, Dreamcast tried to do something like that, but they were just too ahead of their time. They didn't. There wasn't the infrastructure for it.
No, I get you. Like, I had dial-up until I was 12.
Yeah.
So whenever I finally got, like, high-speed internet and I got to play online with my friends, it was an amazing time for me, too.
Yeah, and it's just like, this is it. It's an infinite game of Halo.
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking fun as hell. Now, not to say that those Halo 1 LAN parties where everyone would meet up and take over their parents' house and have like 6 old CRT TVs and everyone had their individual Xbox and it would be about 120 degrees in the house. Those were a lot of fun too.
See, I never got to the LAN party part of things. That was
okay.
Yeah. Mostly because, like, the people I played with, it was always like, oh, you're getting, like, the Xbox? Well, then I will get, like, the PlayStation for Christmas so that whenever I come over to your house, I can play the exclusives of your place. Mm-hmm. Whenever you come over to my house, you can play the exclusives at my place. And then we have the best of both worlds.
And that's what we did with Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and like, there's merit in doing it that way.
Yeah.
But Super Nintendo obviously didn't have like multiplayer games like that. Like, they didn't have a Halo 2.
No, I mean, they had an F-Zero if you were an F-Zero kid, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it, F-Zero.
Yeah.
It was a really fun game.
Yeah.
That, like the racing game, right?
Yeah, F-Zero. Yeah, the racing game.
Where Captain Falcon is from that game, inexplicably, even though never see him. Because all you're doing is just picking the stupid car or the hover jet thing or whatever. Man, Halo 2, God, yeah, like I definitely miss those days. Halo 3, I was still pretty good at. Halo 4 is where I was like trailing off, like I couldn't do it anymore. Like it just got like harder. I didn't understand the all the multiplayer maps seemed less intuitive to me, and I don't know. I guess that could be something of just like getting old or older, but it just seemed like it was very difficult.
Yeah. Back for me, it was Black Ops and Black Ops 2. That was what me and my friends played religiously.
I never got... The only Call of Duty game that I enjoyed was the very, very first one.
Yes, the one where you end up playing as the Russians in World War II, at first, at least.
There was a part in that, but that was like a long way before it turned into just like the multiplayer thing that it is now.
Yeah, that's what I played originally too, was like the very first one.
1 and 2. I feel like Call of Duty is a multiplayer thing, and the single player is just like arbitrary.
I mean, the original one was very much more of a focus on the single player aspect.
Yeah, and that's the only one that I've ever really played. And then it eventually turned into like zombie. I don't know. I'm sure they probably have other multiplayer games too.
Zombies is just a mainstay nowadays, though.
Is it?
Oh yeah, pretty much. I don't think they've released one without a zombies in a while.
That Zombies was a game type in Halo 2 as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, it started off... Halo 2 was so interesting in this respect because I was thinking about this a while ago and I wasn't sure if it had happened. And at the time, it seems like, wow, what a crazy good idea that was. So in Halo 2, the multiplayer was like Slayer and like capture the flag, your typical multiplayer stuff. Like Slayer is just like that team kills that team.
Team deathmatch.
Yeah, team deathmatch. There's also single player deathmatch where it's like you versus like 9 other people. And as the game went on, it also gave gave you the option to like customize your game type, and it had a lot of customization options for the time, which you would think like, why would you ever do this like at all? And like Bungie would incorporate super popular game types, the custom game types, into the main game. Like SWAT started off as somebody would be like, well, let's just give everyone battle rifles. Let's take away their power shields. And so it's just all like 1 3-burst fire round to the head to kill someone. And that was a super popular game type, and it was a lot of fun. And so it just became like a mainstay now, like SWAT. And it's a lot of fun. Oddball was probably a built-in game already, because you just hold the skull for a certain amount of time, and whoever has the most time wins, whether it be team or individual. King of the Hill, I think, started off as a custom game, just like a certain team or individual controls a certain area. And that was a lot of fun, I guess. Snipers was a custom game, nothing but a sniper rifle. Sometimes you get a pistol as well. Don't ever use the pistol in Halo 2, because that's when they made it really shitty. And I thought that was really cool. Like, wow, what a good idea.
Custom game modes.
Yeah, well, like not just custom game modes, but it's like wow, like they're like a third of our player base is playing this one single custom game type. Let's just go ahead and add it to the menu to when on the LFG search. And it's like, man, what a cool idea. I'm sure something like Unreal Tournament was probably doing that years before.
I mean, that's kind of what Valve built themselves on with like with like Counter-Strike and Dota.
Well, Counter-Strike started off as like a player mod, right?
Of Half-Life, yeah.
Yeah.
And like
now it's its own
behemoth,
separate thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think they're related anymore, are they? Like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Because everyone loves Counter-Strike.
And like Dota was originally a custom game made from Warcraft 3. And like Valve saw them and was like, hey, you want to make this like an actual game for us? And that's what they ended up doing. And that's the reason why Blizzard added claws with the Warcraft 3 Reforged. Have you heard of this?
No.
So with Warcraft 3 Reforged came a lot of different controversies, but one of the ones I really remember is that they had like a new user end agreement where they were like, any new content you make for our game, we hold the legal rights for. Because Dota was just such a huge thing, and they were like, we are not missing out on this again.
I mean, yeah, like that makes sense for a company to do that. I didn't even realize Dota was a Warcraft mod.
Oh, yeah, that's how it started out life.
Interesting.
And that's why it got shortened to Dota 2, and they don't really say Defense of the Ancients that often.
Oh, is that what that stands for? I never even knew that.
Yeah, because that's what it was called. That's its full title was in like Blizzard's arcade mode, and since they just shortened it to Dota instead of just having it as an acronym, that's how they stay legally distinct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I never really got into like Dota or those types of like pro gamer games.
I tried to get into
Or,
like
Major
MOBAs
League
like
Gaming.
that, but like I just never could.
Yeah, because they looked hard. I didn't know what was going on, and also I'm not going to be the guy that gets into Major League Gaming because that's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the MLG guy.
Yeah, I already said my piece about it. I only play games for fun, and if I spend so much time in a game to get good enough to be like MLG level, well, how much fun am I having? Will I still be wanting to play this game by the time I get to that level? And
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm already too old. Like from what I understand, most of those LMG guys, like they age out at like 20.
oh yeah, I'm already past my prime.
Yeah,
too.
like it's just because like that quarter of a second that you lose in your early 20s, I guess means that a world of difference. So
Yes, it does.
like, damn, that's what would have been. I'm also trying to think, like, I don't know if there's no competitive game that I'd be good enough at. Maybe Kirby's Dream Course on the Super Nintendo, which was like, you know who Kirby is, right?
I know Kirby. I even played Kirby's Dream Course before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, like maybe that. But that doesn't rely on reaction though. That's like turn-based. Maybe that game. Is there a following for that game still? Because I don't think there ever was.
Shockingly, like, so do you know who the Game Grumps are?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, because of them, Kirby's Dream Course got like a bump in popularity like a while ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like they played it and it was like a super popular series for them. So much so that somebody made a fan made mod for Kirby's Dream Course that adds whole new levels and stuff just for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like, I knew they like I remember seeing like thumbnails of like them playing it. I guess someone made a mod for it though.
I
For
don't
them.
know. I don't know if it was mod or just like a straight up recreation of the game. Yeah,
A
but like
recreation of the game.
yeah, but like it adds whole new levels. It adds like their faces to the pink and blue Kirby's.
Really?
Yeah. It even adds like memes from like their show as like certain enemies and stuff like that.
So yeah, like I think the copy that I had came with the Super Nintendo that I got when I was a kid, way back when they would give you a game with the console.
Yeah.
I think it came with that and also a copy of Super Mario RPG,
Oh dang.
which at the time I did not appreciate because I was thinking like Super Mario, like on the Nintendo and World, and like the Super Mario RPG is wildly different.
Yeah.
So I didn't like it at the time. I wish I still had it now though, because apparently they're also kind of valuable
Yeah, they are.
and they have a huge following.
Yeah. I mean, it was popular enough to get a remake not too long ago.
Yeah, I think they released it on Switch
Yep.
recently, which I'll probably get at some point.
I'll probably get around to getting that too myself sometime. Because like I was like super excited to hear that was coming out, and then I completely forgot about it.
Mm-hmm. Because I like the Paper Mario games. I was just too young, didn't understand,
Too naive.
too naive, didn't understand that this is actually apparently one of the better turn-based role-playing games made at the time.
Was that made by Square or Enix?
I think it was Square.
Gotcha.
But I'm not. But I don't know. I don't know 100%. I want to say Square, but that also just could be because you said Square first, and so I just like, well, that one's right.
Yeah. Who was it that makes the Mario and Luigi games? Was it one of them? No, it wouldn't be.
Nintendo? Is Nintendo not the answer?
No, they have like a, I guess you would call it like a second party developer for it. It's kind of like how
Like Mario and Luigi.
like Superstar Saga, Bowser's Inside Story, those types of games.
Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about. I don't know. I want to say that those games started on the Game Boy though,
I think it was the Game Boy.
but I don't know who made them. I always just assumed Nintendo.
Yeah.
So
It might have been HAL Laboratories.
I know I've heard that name before. I don't know if it's in regards to this.
They're the people who made Earthbound.
Oh, that's also a pretty good cult following as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think of the Metroid Prime series?
I have not played any of the Metroid Prime games.
All right. Well, okay.
Yeah. Sorry to shoot that down immediately.
Oh, that's
but...
fine. Well, I personally really enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were amazing.
Okay.
And they recently dropped a trailer for Metroid Prime 4.
Mm.
Finally, after a very long time.
Yeah, I know it's been a while. It was like the last one released on the Wii, I want to say.
Yeah, that was a remaster of Metroid Prime 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that so the company that's making Metroid Prime 4 can they did that so they can learn how to make 4 essentially.
Gotcha.
I will say that there is a single game-breaking bug in that game that has been in Metroid Prime 1 since the very first one released,
Mm-hmm.
when it originally released, and they did not fix it. And I was very upset when I accidentally succumbed to it.
I imagine it must be like a very hard to fix thing, if that's the case.
I guess, but what it is essentially is that in Metroid Prime 1, you have to collect these 12 artifacts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually like a big old boss fight. You defeat the boss, get the artifact, and drop it off at the certain area. So in this room where this one particular artifact is, and their boss fight, it's possible to beat the boss, leave the room, and then if you ever go back in that room, that artifact has disappeared forever. And
Oh.
if you don't pick up that artifact, it disappears from the game. And it's easy to leave the room because that artifact is hidden in it's not on a direct path to anything in that room. Like the exit is is on the opposite side of the room, so it's easy to go to the exit instead. And that has always been in every version of the game, and it's very upsetting because like when I got it on the Switch, I had done that without realizing it until I had done like everything else in the game. And I'm thinking, where is this last artifact? And I couldn't remember because it's also easy to, because like they will do that thing in video games to where like sometimes old bosses show back up and just kind of as like NPCs for like a harder area, and so it's easy to get confused and think like that wasn't maybe not necessarily a boss fight, but it was, and so like the artifact's gone forever,
And that was
you
like
just
one
gotta
of the
start over.
that was one of the earlier ones too for you, wasn't it?
I want to say that artifact shows up. It's around like the early middle. But there's no, you can do it really in any order because you can also just collect all the artifacts and then go to the area where you like set them in their special pedestal. But like I didn't even realize like I had missed it until like I had everything else in the game done except for the one that disappeared. And so like that game is bust. You can't go back. Still a fun game. I love it. It's just like, man, I wish I would have fixed that one though.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah, with Metroid Prime, like a big feature of it is like you get like scanning mode on your special helmet visor, and you can scan like all like the indigenous like flora and fauna and such, learn about the world that you're on. It helps you learn about enemies and bosses, gives you various informations and like you have to scan in order to get 100% of the game. You have to scan everything that you can in addition to also beating and I did that for like the other 3 Metroid Primes because I just thought it was so much. It was really fun on the Switch, or not the Switch, the Wii.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which ones are on the Wii?
They're all on the Wii. Like, because like I had them all on the. Like I've bought this fucking game 3 times.
Gotcha.
I bought it on the GameCube. I bought all 3 on the GameCube. I bought the Wii had a special trilogy release, so I bought that. And then I bought the first one on the Switch. The Wii one was really fun because since it's like motion controls, and so like you use the motion controls to look around.
Could you not do that on the Switch too?
Yeah, well, I'm playing in handheld.
Gotcha.
So like I'm not gonna, and also I don't really like motion controls. I think it's more gimmicky than anything. But I think it is an option. I'm sure it is. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But the GameCube or the Switch one, or God, the Wii one, like that one was fun because it turned it into like a true first-person shooter game to where you could like look around and all that. The ones on the GameCube, it didn't feel like a true first-person shooter. Like it was more, I don't know how to describe it, but like it liked to do Z target a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You lock onto the enemy and
then you can look around. It was a gorgeous game. You can see like Samus's reflection and the inside of her visor. Water would splash up onto it.
Did you get like a similar upgrade with like the Switch version?
Yeah, like they all looked great. Like on the Switch, it's just a straight up first person shooter. Like there's still like target lock, but you can still like also are free to move around, look at wherever you want, which is probably the way to do it. I was never a big fan of Z targeting.
Oh, Ocarina of Time must have been not great for you, huh?
Well, no, I didn't like Ocarina of Time when it came out. I can appreciate it for what it is now. I wasn't crazy about it because I was like the 2D to 3D transition for me.
Right, and you had trouble with that.
I had a lot of trouble with that because it would make me very sick. Like I didn't beat Super Mario 64 until like 3 years ago. And that was when it got released on the Switch. But I did find every star.
You got every star.
I got all 120 stars or however many there are. And so I got to see Yoshi at the end. Peach gave me that cake. It was tough, though. I don't know if you remember that game or have ever played it.
No, I've played it. I've played the original 64 version. I've played the remake on the DS, and I've also played the Switch version.
Yeah, I got every single star. There were times, like there was more than one time where I literally cried because I was so angry at that fucking game.
Give me an example. Where'd you cry?
I'm sure at least one of them was on the clock level, like inside that clock. And I can't remember exactly where the other level was, but you show up in this world, you get on the magic carpet,
Mm-hmm.
and it follows that rainbow. It was definitely on that one.
I
That one
know.
was the first time.
I know exactly what you're talking about because this is also one where I've raged quit Super Mario 64.
It was so difficult because I was, especially because that was when I was trying. It's like all I just need to do is get the 100 coins, and so I don't know how many coins are on each level, but it's just like I just need them all just in case because I know there are a couple levels where there's only like literally 100 or 101 maybe. And just trying to collect all the coins before they disappear, you just fucking run off the level, and it's just like that. It's just that situation over and over again. Like that's the game. You're just running off the level by accident. So yeah, it was definitely on that one, and probably the clock level. Trying to think of some other hard ones. I mean, I think those were the two hardest levels in that game. I'm sure, like the level where you control the water level.
Mm-hmm.
That one was frustrating, but in a different way. It was just frustrating to try to figure out how to get everything to fit together. Wise, like
Nah, I get that. Controlling water levels in like 3D games like that, both in Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, whatever else, it's just tedious.
yeah, and also like most of those titles that they give you for like finding those stars,
Mm-hmm.
they did not help you at all. Like it would be like the most esoteric line of bullshit ever, and it's like what you had to do to get the star was like get shot out of a cannon and land on the pole,
Yeah.
land on a flagpole and slide down and get the star, and it would give you like a very poetic, almost whimsical line of a title for like the mission objective or whatever. And it's like I don't know what the fuck this means. Like I had to look up a lot of those titles to try to decipher what Nintendo was trying to tell me they needed to do.
See, whenever you say that, my mind immediately goes to like the simplest of titles, like King Bob-omb's Brawl or whatever, and then it's like, okay,
And that's a fine title.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
yeah, I think I can figure out that one.
Or it's like, oh, like this one talks about like Koopa, so it's gonna be like I gotta race the big turtle again.
Yeah.
Like that. But like on the second ice level, there's a lot of like weird titles. And it's like talking about an igloo. I haven't even seen an igloo on this fucking level. And then you find the igloo, and it's small, and the model for the igloo is smaller than the character model from Mario. It's like, well, how? And it's tucked in on like the back side of the mountain,
Yeah,
on top of a ledge that you're not gonna immediately see it.
And plus, it's like white on white too, so
Yeah.
it blends in.
And it's like, how am I supposed to find this?
Yeah.
Like I had to look that one up. It's still a fun game. I really love it. It's one of my favorite Mario games, I would say.
Well, I would hope you loved it. It made you rage so hard you cried. Like if you didn't love it, I'd be concerned.
But yeah, I did get all the stars. Getting the 8 coins on all the Bowser levels though, that was also pretty stressful. Those are probably the most stressful moments for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I got about Super Mario 64.
I mean, I got nothing to really add to Super Mario 64 other than the DS version was a lot of fun because they added Luigi, Waluigi,
Yeah.
and
Was
yeah.
that one? Did they add co-op to that, or was that Because I thought they added co-op to that.
I don't think they did.
If you were on like the Street Pass or something like that.
No, they added co-op to like the Mario Bros games, but I don't think they had it for
okay.
64.
Oh, they added co-op to Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
I could play like Super Mario 1 with like a friend.
I
or,
mean it was
3.
like new Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, new Super Mario Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
That
you
was
could
pretty fun. The first one of those that came out on the Wii was pretty fun too.
the one that came out on the DS was great because we would all just be like playing that in middle school, and then you could play the mini games where you could play poker with Luigi and everyone else.
Like I remember, my friend and I were hanging out, getting drunk, and we had to set up like the TV the Wii in our kitchen because we had like the house that I was living in at the time. It was so old; it didn't have a breaker box; it had a fuse box.
Oh shit!
And we had blown a fuse, and those are things that just aren't readily available anymore. And so we had to. It took 2 days for our landlord to get that fixed, and so like the living room had no power to it, but our kitchen still did. And so we set it up in our kitchen and got drunk and beat that whole game in one night in one sitting.
God damn.
It was a lot of fun. That was probably like one of the most fun times I've had in a video game. Like that and Portal 2 were like the top two most fun I've ever had in a video game. Portal 2 was pretty fun too.
I've actually never really played the Portal games.
You've never played the Portal games?
I've never played the Portal games. And before you say anything, Joey also hates me for this.
Well, yeah, they're right. They have every right to hate you.
I understand. Yeah, I know.
It's all right. We'll save it for when we start our Let's Play channel.
Yeah, we'll save it for that.
That'd be a hell of a game. Portal 2 is a hell of a game to do on a Let's Play channel.
Yeah.
Because it makes the people playing it sick and also the people watching it sick.
We'll have to save that for that. Well, thank you all for coming in for this more relaxed episode of Date Night at Power Noodles.
You almost said comically inclined.
I did almost say comically inclined. But again, thank you all for coming. I've been Landon Felter.
I'm Billy Rhodes.
And we will see you next time.
Goodbye.